If you're attending this webinar, you probably have heard something like this before. When you dial into a company, the gatekeeper that answers the phone asks you the question of, what is this call in regards to? This is one of the most popular objections or questions that a gatekeeper will ask. And what they do is they'll ask this to try to get you to answer something that signifies that you're a salesperson. And if you answer it honestly and directly with an answer that either sounds like you want to schedule a meeting, you want to sell something, you want to see what if they're purchasing anything in your area, any answer like that will let them know it's okay to get rid of you. So they love this question, and it can be tricky how to answer it without getting completely shut down. Another objection that you may hear is, we're not interested. This is one that really drives me crazy, and maybe you can relate, because it's different hearing this from a gatekeeper versus hearing this from a prospect. Although neither of those different scenarios is enjoyable, but it's extremely frustrating when a gatekeeper tells you this, because they're not the person you're trying to sell to. In most cases, you haven't had a chance to really tell them what you have to offer. And even if you did, they probably don't have the experience and knowledge to determine whether or not they are interested. They're not even letting you get to the person that is qualified to be interested or uninterested. So me personally, and I bet you can agree, this one really can be just truly frustrating. Another objection you can run into is where they say, send me your info. And this one actually can be very popular, and it can actually be, let's say, not very hostile. It can actually be delivered in a very friendly way. And there's some problems with, when they say send me your info, is if you don't really realize what's going on, you may have a feeling like, oh wow, they're going to actually forward my info on, and this might be my way in, and you get excited, you get off the phone, you maybe waste, or let's say, I won't say waste your time, but you'll spend some valuable time putting together your information, maybe crafting a very beautiful email that explains what you want to talk to them about, and includes some attachments, and you send it over very proudly, and the email probably will get deleted and not forwarded over to the person you're trying to reach. So those are some examples of some things that gatekeepers do to block you out. We'll talk about those in more detail. We'll talk about some other things they do. But this is a pretty important area for you to stop and think about, either what can you do to improve how you're handling gatekeepers, or what you can do to minimize and mitigate this challenge. And one of the reasons why it's so important is you could spend almost 50% of your phone prospecting time dealing with gatekeepers. And I don't know how much time of your day or week you spend on the phones, but and this isn't a firm number. This number could go up or down depending on the contact info you have. I mean, you might have a list with a lot of direct numbers where you don't have to deal with gatekeepers. Maybe you're working off a really rough list that does have a lot of main numbers. So I think it's a very safe number to say about half your time is going to be spent dealing with gatekeepers. So that's a lot. If this is a big challenge for you and you don't have a game plan, that could be having a significant impact on your results. The other thing to think about, gatekeepers are naturally going to take the position of your opposition. And whether or not they're nice or they're mean or how they act to you, the reality is that you have conflicting interests. A gatekeeper, typically their objective is to probably keep you out. I mean, they do have a goal of maybe trying to figure out where you're trying to go and point you in the right direction, but if they identify you're a salesperson trying to sell something, their goal is to keep you out, and your goal is to get in. So that naturally kind of puts you at other sides of the table. So think about that. Well, about 50% of your phone prospecting time is going to be dealing with an adversary that is doing everything they can to keep you from going where you're going. So that's not real good. The bad news is you can spend 50% of your time dealing with an enemy. The good news is that there are some small things you can do to improve what let's call your gatekeeper relations. And we're going to go through those today. And if you've attended any of our other webinars, you know that we're going to give you clear and exact things to do. This isn't going to be a theoretical, fluffy, put on your Nikes and go do it. We'll tell you exactly how to deal with gatekeepers. Let's start out by talking about the fact that there's actually different types of gatekeepers that